Welcome to the SnailTrail4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about so supple rear ends in Toyotas, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler, and joining me for another episode of the SnailTrail4x4 podcast, Mr. I Touch Rear Ends All Day, Jimmy Jet. How you doing, man?
Good. Thank you. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Awesome. Glad to hear it.
Yeah. I like how you color coordinated today with your t-shirt.
Oh, with my mic?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. That was on purpose, right?
Oh,
and your headphones? Your
100%.
headphones have that on there too?
Yeah. The little orange.
Yeah. Anyways.
We need to get you some Rode headphones and get you a little green thingy.
I'm just going to put a green piece of tape around it or something.
Get a green zip tie over there.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Yeah. Anyways, we're Monday episode?
Monday.
Question mark?
No, exclamation mark.
Exclamation mark. All right. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hopefully you guys are going out and enjoying the snow wheeling. The snow wheeling. What did we call that one time?
I don't remember.
Solo snow wheeling?
Oh, solo snow wheeling? Yeah, maybe. I might have to do that at Winter Fun Fest this upcoming weekend.
Why?
Because every snow run is pretty much filled up.
Yeah, just show up on Snowcat on Sunday. We'll figure out something for you to do.
All right. Do you think the Tacoma can handle it?
I don't know, man. It gets deep quick.
Yeah.
Like it was a pretty warm storm. So but it stormed a lot, which means that right about the snow level, which is 5,000 to 6,000 feet, it goes from like no snow to like 6 to 8 feet of snow really quickly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, the assistant wants to come up and the assistant wants the trailer.
Ah, okay.
And I don't think I can convince her to drive Bobcat or convince her to tow the trailer. So that means the Tacoma and the trailer.
Okay.
Yeah. Or it means no Bobcat is really what that comes down to. So I'll still work on it, see what I can do. But as of right now, it sounds like the Tacoma and the trailer are going to be there. Okay.
I was thinking about only doing one night.
Yeah.
And just essentially coming up for the party Saturday evening.
Mm-hmm.
And then party Saturday evening and then the Snowcat run Sunday, right?
Okay.
So I was thinking about bringing up the Lance.
Yeah.
With towing the mule.
Okay.
Which means I have the Lance. There's a big-ish bed in there and a smallish bed in there.
Okay.
So you and me can cuddle on the big bed and in our 2-person chonies, and the assistant can have the small bed.
Okay. I'm down for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let me see if the assistant wants to join us or not.
Yeah.
Oh man, getting ourselves into trouble.
Yeah, it's okay. The significant others don't really listen to the episodes. So
no, they don't listen at all. Yeah. So it works out.
Mine actually does, apparently.
Once.
No.
Once a year.
No.
Oh.
She's like, no, I listen every once in a while. Like if there's an episode I think I might be talked about on, then I'll listen. And in my head, I was like, that's pretty much every episode. Don't say anything, Tyler.
Yeah.
So
she said that at 6:50. Right?
Yeah. Anyways, and then she never tells me when she listens to the show. So like, I just don't bring it up and don't ask, don't tell. That's been working so far.
Probably the smart move.
Anyways.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of fun things to talk about today. We had a lot of fun with Samantha and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But before we do, we have a few giveaways going on like always that we need to talk about and try to get you guys some cool swag one way or another. So what giveaway items do we have this month?
We have some gear wrench stuff going on. Jimmy wore his shirt today to show you guys all what we're doing.
For that too.
Yep. And so essentially we have a bunch of stuff that Gear Wrench has tasked us with giving away. And so we'll put together kind of like a little shopping list with pictures, pretty pictures for you guys. And you'll have a $200 voucher to go shopping from our Gear Wrench stuff we have to give you guys. So $200 in Gear Wrench tools for this month to kick off 2026. All thanks to Gear Wrench. And hopefully you guys, if you don't win And if you haven't won stuff in the past, you're going out and buying some gear wrench stuff for yourself. So they're really good tools. Jimmy and I love them. Well, it's pretty much all of our tools. And they do pretty damn well. So
they do indeed.
Let's see. So
and most of their tools have a lifetime warranty on them.
Yep. That's true.
And I'm going to actually test their warranty because I have a broken snap ring plier that I need to get checked out or submit. And I've done a little bit of research, and there's just a warranty button at the bottom, and then you have to submit a picture and say what it is. And then I guess we're going to hear back, but I haven't done it yet. So I'll keep you guys all informed once I do that.
Nice.
Yep.
Do you have an update on Becky?
No.
Do we want to dive into that at all?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not until I have to contact AAA or something to figure that out first.
Okay, that was something that came out of last weekend when we were playing with Samantha. So, all right. So yeah, Gear Wrench stuff going on this month. Really cool. Thanks again, Gear Wrench. We love working with them. Hopefully, we haven't done a tool month with Gear Wrench in a while, in a couple of years. So we're going to try and get back, on that saddle with them. But really, in order to do that, we need to be able to show that everybody out there, all of our listeners, love Gear Wrench stuff, and that we can successfully convert people over to Gear Wrench tools. So the more that you guys are going out there, the more that you're sharing on social media, tagging Gear Wrench about stuff that you have, and then tagging us too, making sure Gear Wrench sees that SnailTrail4x4 is doing awesome stuff for them. The more that we get to do cool things like Tool Month with Gear Wrench. So definitely go and do that. If you guys have Gear Wrench stuff, show it off. Tell people about it. It's awesome. So
absolutely.
That's why we get to talk about it here on the show so much, because we love our stuff that we have from them. So
Yep. So if you want to enter for the giveaway, you need to go over to Irate4x4, go down to the watch, listen, and discuss section, click on SnailTrail4x4, and then all your sign up options will be right there. Make sure to click on the giveaway tier, and that's how you get entered.
Let's see, what else do we got? We have giveaway reviews.
Review giveaway. Yep.
Do we want to do any reviews or save it for Thursday?
Let's do Thursday reviews. Okay. Yep. Even though every time we talk about reviews, we get more, or every time we talk about the reviews that you guys leave, we get more reviews being left, which is a good thing because we're trying to work our way to 800 reviews.
Yep.
And once we get to 800 reviews, we are giving away what?
We're giving away an Onyx Elite membership. So Onyx Off-Road specifically, which they do a really good job at making mapping software for mobile devices, computers too, that helps you keep track of where you are in the world, whether you have cell data, cell service, data connection, anything like that. They do a great job. And it's a big thing. We love going exploring. We love getting out away from society, running away into the mountains. But you always need to have an exit strategy. And I know that, at least for me, and I know Jimmy too, a lot of our exit strategies in these remote locations we like to go play in, Onyx Off-Road plays a big role of that exit strategy, making sure that we can make it back home safely to our families and to our friends and to our podcast and our listeners, right? So
that's what really matters.
That's really what matters. We don't care about our family and friends.
No.
It's all about you guys.
Yes.
Onyx Elite membership, super valuable. It's about $100 a year, and they do sales throughout the year as well. So for under $10 a month, you have something that is really good insurance to make sure that you know how to make it home. You don't get lost. You know how to find where you are and how to get out of wherever you're at. So, super valuable thing. And we have one to give away once we reach 800 reviews on Apple Podcasts. And then we have another one to give away once we reach 850 reviews. And you can win both of those. It is possible.
Yeah.
And what's cool about the Elite membership for the Onyx there is that if you already have a membership with Onyx and their software, it just tacks on to whatever your last day of your current membership is, your subscription. So it doesn't replace it, just tacks on. So you can have a 5-year subscription right now. This will just add on another year to your 5 years. So it's not like you use it or lose it. It just goes in and tacks onto your current subscription. So even if you already have it, it's still really nice to get. So,
absolutely.
And then at 900 reviews, we have a really cool prize package, upwards of $1,000, maybe a little bit more, from Morphlate. Big stuff coming this year from Morphlate. So stay tuned on that front.
Yes, I'm excited to hear some of those outcomes as well. So go leave us reviews, get in. Once you get entered or once you enter yourself, you're automatically entered for everything we do in the future. So that person that left the number 1 review has been in for every single one of the giveaways we've had the opportunity to do.
Yep.
Let's see. We've got another present or a gift or something. Do we want to attack that next?
Yeah, let's do that one. Is it as moist as...
Probably not.
The first one?
I opened the one from Nick from Montana on Thursday. So why don't you open this one?
Okay.
Yes. Is it? They said it was from Oregon, but I didn't see that. Just
Woodburn, Oregon.
Maybe I just can't see.
It does say to the Snail Boys, which is what the last one was addressed to.
Perfect.
Let's see what we got.
All right. Tyler's opening his kniff. What kind of knife are you using these days?
It's a Kershaw Speed Safe.
Kershaw Speed Safe, in case you didn't hear that. Oh, gift thing. Is it more undies? It looks like the same bag. Don't open the gift receipt this time. That cheats.
It looks like cheating. I want to see who it's from. Oh, there's a tag on the gift bag here.
Does it say who it's from there?
To Tyler from Nick Ramsey. So was that one? Did that one say to Jimmy?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Where it was a tag on the bag?
On the blue bag. Yep, there's a tag on there.
This one says, to share from Nick.
To share. Okay. So that one's for us to share. The 2-person chonies.
And then this one's just to you?
This one's just to me.
What the heck, Nick?
Maybe he's like sending them in multiple days. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe mine's coming a few days late. I like Amazon's little packaging, though.
It is kind of clever. Oh, okay. So it's
wrapped up in more tissue paper. More tissue paper. You got more? The same thing?
I don't know if we can put this on the camera here.
It's socks that says you like roosters.
No, it says I like cocktails.
Cocktails. Okay.
See?
Yeah, I just can't see the tail part.
Yeah, it's really, really tiny, and it probably sits under your shoe level. So
yeah, right? That's funny.
That's pretty good. I'll have to wear these next time. You like fun socks?
I do like fun socks.
Do you still have room in your sock drawer?
Nope, unfortunately.
Oh. Okay.
Sorry.
I heart cocktails. Tails.
Yep.
But the tails part is probably going to be like under the ankle of your boot or something.
Yep.
So that's... Nice. Thank you, Nicholas.
Thanks, Nick. Tyler's going to wear those at the whenever we wear the chonies.
I'm going to wear them to Winter Fun Fest.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get some white Russians.
Yeah. Dimitri's going to be there? What?
Is Moreflate Sean going? I need to have some...
That's right. You guys have I'm pretty sure he is.
We always have a white Russian together. Yeah.
I don't know. I need to check in with those guys and see who all's going on.
I need to talk to my employees.
I completely got discombobulated during the holidays in December, so I'm like so far behind on getting things squared away for January.
I 100% get it.
All right,
cool.
So that's our gift.
Thanks, Nick, for another gift. Another one. We got some nice people sending us some gifts for the holidays. Yeah. Really appreciate everybody. We've had some fun stuff. Where do we want to hang this phallic calendar?
That's right. We still got to hang that up somewhere, huh?
Yeah,
next to the TLCA one.
I guess we can put it next to the TLCA or the Rising Sun 4x4 clubs.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll just let it there for all the YouTube viewers.
They do kind of follow a similar theme, so we can just do that.
All right. We're going to get flagged on YouTube, but it all works out.
Just put a black box over this section of the chair here when you do the editing.
Sounds good. Cool. Well, I think that's it. Cool. Shall we jump over and talk about Samantha's rear end?
Yeah. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll be right on back with getting our hands full of rear ends here. See you soon.
Are you stuck inside? Are you not sure where you want to go to explore? Well, open the Onyx Off-Road app. It shows you all the trails around you, and it tells you their difficulty. Now you can quickly search out your next adventure or plan your next trip. Download Onyx Off-Road from the App Store. Onyx Off-Road, built for the adventurer.
Welcome back, ladies and germs, to today's campfire discussion. Today's discussion, it is a Monday episode. So we try and do like something on Mondays that like you guys are going to learn something, take away something from Monday's episodes that you can apply to your lives, or maybe it's just a fun conversation that next time you're on a campfire, you can bring it up with your buddies and see what the conversation turns into, like maybe trail ratings or glamping versus camping, that kind of stuff.
That reminds me.
Oh, no, I didn't say it.
I meant to bring it up because actually Nick from Montana talked about that on Friday, and I forgot to talk about it. But I think, and maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll just make a note about it for next Friday, and we won't talk about it now. But I think I have the conclusion to camping versus glamping.
Really?
Yes, I think
scented candles.
I was listening to one of our episodes for over the holidays, over the time when we were doing it, snail mail episode, whether it was a Monday or what. And somebody was talking about it and something popped into my head. And I'm like, it was Toyota Dawn's part.
Okay.
And I was arguing against what he was saying, but it made me think of what I do believe is the conclusion, and will stop all arguments in regards to camping versus glamping.
Alrighty. I will do my due diligence to poke holes in your logic to continue the argument then after when we get there.
I'll forward a little bit in my notebook and try to write myself a note to remember to talk about it.
All right.
or try to remember about what that is.
I have a note here to talk about the conclusion of glamping. I don't remember what it was.
Whatever I talked about.
That's funny. All right. So today, though, Monday episode, we're going to talk a little bit about some updates to Samantha.
Yes.
Because Samantha is coming along really nicely. Progress is being made. Nick, you're going down. And we got to have fun and prepping the rear axle so that like it's pretty much in the spot where like the rear suspension can start getting put together now. So
almost, yeah.
Yeah. What do you have planned for Samantha axle wise? Like, let's get into what we're doing with this axle what it started with.
I'll do a higher level quick chat about sort of Samantha's rear end, just so that we can, if you haven't been paying attention to the podcast continuously, you'll know where we're at. Samantha is a 2-wheel drive Toyota pickup from the 90s that I'm converting to a 4-wheel drive. The rear axle on the 2-wheel drive trucks are 5-lug, and all the other, if you go to 4-wheel drive, they're 6-lugs. So when I was changing the front axle, I would either need 2 different types of wheels, or I'd need to change something over to a 6-lug. And so also a Toyota 2-wheel drive from the 90s has a 7.5 inch ring gear in the rear. And so it's like, I wanted the bigger ring gear. Granted, throughout the time of me working on Samantha, I've gone through a few versions of the rear axle options. And where I've landed now is I have a trail gear fabricated housing. I think it showed up. It was like 78 inches wide or something like that.
From the end of the tubes?
Yeah, I forgot what it was. You measured it. No, it was...
I don't think I measured the full width of the tubes.
We didn't?
I didn't.
No, the stock one was 59 1/4. I forgot what the other one was.
59 5/16.
5/16. Okay. Yeah. And and the fabricated one was bigger.
Yeah.
So I ended up...
I would say 78, 79 is about on par. Each one of the tube sections you cut off was about 10 inches.
Yeah. So I ended up with a fabricated trail gear housing for an e-locker. The reason I went with trail gear over rough stuff was because trail gear already does the cutout for an e-locker, or has that option, and rough stuff only has an 8-inch option. And so you would need to do the cutout and drill the holes and everything yourself.
Or put an e-locker in
or change out what I already have. But I already have the third member 529s already all set up, ready to go.
Yeah.
And that was the big thing, because I did end up at one point with the T100 rear axle. And that's sort of what I was modeling the width of this one out of. And that I was going to use that one. But to change out the gearing and everything on that one was going to cost more than me buying a fabricated housing.
Yep.
So I was like, this is silly. I'll just buy a fabricated housing, reuse the axle shafts out of the T100 axle, and use the third member that I already have set up. And so that's how I came to this conclusion.
So you're taking essentially the T100 axle shafts, which are the same diameter thickness as
a mini truck
and
axle
shaft
of that era. Yes.
They're running 27 spline on the inners to the third member.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds right. I'm not sure.
They're just over 1.25 inches. I want to say they're like 1.
Yeah, they're like 1.28,
1.3.
Something like
that. Diameter axle shafts, but they're much wider.
Yes.
A mini truck axle it's like the old front axles of the mini trucks, the true mini truck axle.
Okay, the true front axle width, or the let's say 85 and older
is 58 and a half,
53
WMS. Jesus Christ. 53-inch WMS.
Mm-hmm.
What is the Tundra, the T100 axle?
Well,
the T100 WMS.
So most people then move. So a lot of people will throw the mini truck front axle underneath an IFS truck, and IFS trucks are 3 inches wider than the mini truck axle. So that's why they'll put spacers on there, or they'll go to the IFS hubs, which roughly do the same thing.
Yep.
And that gets you out to be like 56. The T100 is like 60, what was it? 68, 69. I'm trying to remember.
No, not that far. That's more than full width.
Oh, that's what the tires are going to be, I think. Yeah. But
I want to say the T100 was 61 to 63.
It was somewhere in there.
WMS. It was on par with an FJ80 axle. No,
it's
wider.
big. It's wider than the 80,
because the 80s are 58 and a half.
Yeah. I don't remember offhand. I can Google it though real quick, just so we can get an understanding. WMS T100. Let's see what it says. It says that doesn't have a very easy answer. It says 65. Wow. Thanks, Pirate 4x4.
There you go.
65.
Wow. Okay, that's even wider than I thought it was.
So 10 inches is really what it comes down to be. Yeah. About 10 inches wider than a
mini truck,
an IFS mini truck.
Gotcha.
Width.
Yeah.
And that's 13 inches wider than an 85 or older truck. Yeah. So, and I wanted wider axles. Brian and I talked about wider axles, and we talked about how it would be really good for me. And then I went down the rabbit hole of getting a diamond that would be roughly the same length, width as a T100 axle. And then I could just get the T100 axle for the rear, save myself a little bit of money using a factory housing and that route. And then that just sort of backfired.
But the gearing was way more money than.
Yeah. The gearing to re-gear that ended up, like I said, costing more than buying a fabricated housing.
Yeah.
So thankfully, and fortunately, that axle didn't cost a lot. I think I got that axle for $100.
Nice.
$100 or $200.
So you're using the axle shafts.
So out of that axle, the only thing I'm using is the axle shafts.
Yep.
And actually, first gen Mike wants the rest of it. So
nice.
I'm going to get it over to him.
Cool.
Which will be great for two reasons. One, I mean, he can have a really nice wide axle, and he knows how to do the re-gearing, and he can do all that stuff.
Yeah.
He just needs to buy the gear parts, and he can get that probably at a discount as well.
Yeah.
He's going to need to get axle shafts, is the only thing. And two, that's going to be really nice is I'm going to get an axle housing out of my shop.
Yeah. Right.
So I'll clean up some floor space in a way.
Yep. So you have fabricated housing, trail gear, 8-inch fabricated housing.
Yep.
And you set to essentially a 65 WMS.
The goal was to mimic the width of the T100 axle
with an 8-inch E-locker.
Yep.
Center third member.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I like it. I like that combo. That's a fun, good combo. You get really nice width, which obviously does a lot for your stability.
Yes.
It also makes the suspension easier to package.
Yes, it does.
But you're still keeping a nice high third member.
Correct.
in the 8-inch.
A small third member, which some would argue is a good thing or a bad thing.
Yep.
But
I don't think you're going to have a high GVW on Samantha. I think it's going to be, it might even be lighter than Bobcat.
It will, it should, in theory. I mean, doesn't have the extra cab. So it's a smaller cab. It's going to be roughly about the same length bed in my guess.
Oh, I just realized something. I'm not going to be able to drive Samantha.
Why not?
I can't fit in a regular cab mini truck.
Sure you can.
All right, let's go.
I believe in you. I've seen you fit into smaller things.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, in theory, you should be lower GVW. So having smaller third members, more ground clearance, I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue for Samantha.
No. I'm planning to go to 40s, which everybody says it's just going to blow up a third member, but I think a lot of that comes down to how you drive. Yep. And I'm not a lead foot. I usually don't push things over the edge, or push things up obstacles very hard. Though I have pushed Bobcat harder in the last few years than I have ever done it. So, so we'll see. I mean, I think it's going to be a fun test. I think a lot of people are going to be like, you should have never done that. And then I'm going to prove them wrong. Or everybody's going to say, you should have never done that. And I'll be like, yeah, you're right. You're right. So we'll see. I'm here to prove a point and admit my wrongs if it comes down to it.
I like it. That was kind of my attitude when I built Kermit's axles.
Yeah.
I was like, you're doing it wrong. You can't do that. I'm like, maybe you're right. I don't know. We'll find out one way or another.
Yeah. So, let's see. So this episode to me was going to be primarily a lot of talk about how to make a rear axle, like how some of the hierarchy theory and some of the like process of figuring out where to cut the axle. Cause that really to me that's the hardest part
for sure.
Like I have roughly one chance to cut this axle and make sure that it's right.
Yep.
So that I can weld on the bungs or the ends and have it be complete.
Yep.
Granted, you can go down the rabbit hole of like, I'm going to cut it fat. I'm going to make a bunch of trimming, small cuts or grinding down the ends till it gets to the right spot. Or you can spend some time, and in our case, 3 times measuring things
with multiple people,
to make sure that we're in the right ballpark area, and then do one cut. And that's what we really ultimately did it.
Yeah.
Because the day after New Year's, or New Year's Day, actually, Husmann came over and we pretty much prepped everything to kind of get the axle to be ready to start being assembled. So like we pressed off the disc or the drum brakes, we pressed in new bearings, we pressed on the cups, then we reinstalled everything back onto the axle shafts. We cleaned up a bunch of stuff. I don't know. I think we did some other things. I can't remember off the top of my head. But then we sat down and we did a lot of math and we did a lot of measuring. And then on Saturday, Husmann, you, Tyler, and First Gen Dave all came over, and we had some fun shop time, but the goal was to get the axle together. And pretty much when Tyler showed up, we're like, okay, Husmann and I have already measured everything and we've come to a conclusion on where we need to cut. Tyler, I want you to do the whole process all by yourself.
Yeah.
And see if you come to the same conclusion that we came to make sure that we, we're in the right area.
Yep.
So let's go down the way of doing this, because it's different than the way you did your axle.
It was a different process, and we came out within 1/8 of an inch maybe from each other.
Yeah. Because we went through a different. Sorry, let me back up here a little bit more. You did a different process than the way we did the process to measure the axle.
Correct.
Right. But when you built your axles, you went through a different process for how to measure that one than you went through to measure my axle.
I don't think so. I think I used I was trying to use the same process, and I got lost in one spot. Because every other time I've built 3 axles from scratch now. And only one of those had the axle shafts already sourced.
Got it.
The other two was build the axles and then measure what length you need the axle shafts.
Okay.
And then you just have the axle shafts made to that length.
But your axles, okay, so you built your front, your rear,
Mhm.
and you built my rear
Corey's front.
and Corey's front.
And then I guess with yours 4.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So Corey's front, you didn't have axle shafts.
Nope.
Your front, you didn't have axle shafts.
Nope.
Your rear,
I had axle
you
shafts.
have axle shafts.
Yep.
My rear
You had axle
had
shafts.
axle
Yep.
shafts.
So up before years, I'd only done one that way.
Right.
And so I do remember getting stuck when I did my axle and thinking, I had to think like a couple of days on how to transfer, because I had the third member in the axle shafts and I had the unit bearing cups and the unit bearing and everything. I could tell where, when I put everything together, how wide everything needed to be, how wide the tubes needed to be. But then how do you double check and confirm that, like with that the differential is centered, that the axle shafts are going to be the same length either side? And in my case, I had the same length axle shafts and I didn't know if I was gonna have to offset the third member at all. And or how that was going to work out. So I had to do a lot of measurements just to get that set in the first place.
Sure.
And that's what I did to start on your axle.
Okay.
Was to confirm that this was a perfectly centered
Third
member, so that
hole.
so that the axle shafts were equal distant from the outers.
Okay.
Right?
So your first order of operations was to pretty much measure the factory housing that we are, air quotes, replicating.
Yeah. Yep. Measure all the factory measurements of the housing, the axle shafts, see if we can get a measurement of the distance in the third member that the shafts were apart from each other inside the carrier.
The embedding.
No.
What would you call that?
It's where you it's where so in a carrier.
Yeah.
Inside the carrier is your either your spider gears or a locking mechanism, right?
Sure.
So the axle shafts typically don't touch each other.
Yeah.
In the tips, right?
Correct.
They don't play laser swords.
Right.
So there's a gap there. And they kind of butt up on the carrier if you make it too close. And the goal is that you have enough spline engagement without bottoming out your axle shafts. So you need to figure out what that gap is when they're both bottomed out, how much space is left between them.
Sure.
And then you can take their flange bolt to the end of your axle shaft. And if they're the same length and everything's centered, you multiply that by 2 and add in your gap in the carrier. And you would have how long you need to cut your tubes to. But then another way to check that is to lay everything down on the floor, measure it all out. But then how do you transfer that measurement and figure it all out from onto the housing?
Yeah.
You have to figure out the very center point of the housing. And how do you do that accurately and precisely?
Yeah.
Down to, I think our tolerance we were measuring it down to was 1/16.
About that.
On both of us actually. And that wasn't planned or anything. It's just what we did.
Yeah.
Independently of each other. And transferring the measurement from what I knew it needed to be to the reference point on the housing so that I can start working backwards to figure out where the cuts need to go. That was where I got lost. And I was like, wait a minute. This doesn't make sense. How do we, and I skipped a step in there and I caught myself kind of standing there looking deep in thought while also trying to pay attention to what you guys were chatting about.
Oh,
and I was like, this isn't working. I was like, what? And Husmann saw me kind of like lost in thought there. And he goes, okay, well, you're now looking at my notes. I was like, I'm just looking. I wasn't looking at his notes. I just got like spaced out. And he goes, can I show you how I did it? And I was like, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So
let me pause you there because we ran over a lot of different things.
Okay.
And I want to try to paint an easy picture.
Fair.
In the minds of a listener that's thinking about building
how to do this.
Yeah, how to do this, how they got theirs.
Yeah.
So like the high level view of this is there's there's two things that are kind of happening in the way that I see it.
Okay.
You have to figure out the overall length that the axle is going to be, right? From mounting surface to mounting surface.
Yep.
The second major thing is your third member in the center?
Yep.
Or is it
offset?
Or is it offset a little bit?
Yep.
Like it may be your pinion's in the center, but that means your third member is going to be offset.
Yep.
So you need to figure out how wide is it going to be, or how wide do you want it to be, right? And then where do you need to put the third member? And in our case, the third member was damn near center, right? And the axles are identical.
Yep.
So it almost is, same widths on each side in the centered third member. And then, so it's once you know that, it's how do you transfer that to the new housing?
Yes.
And that's where the math gets really complicated.
Yeah.
It's not really complicated. There's just a lot of things to check.
A lot of things to check. And the big thing that is the key to all of it is having a reference point that you can translate between the old housing and the new housing.
Good point. Yes.
And that reference point has to be dead nuts on exact as possible.
Right. And we were going from a non-e-locker housing to an e-locker housing. So you couldn't just, and an 8.2 third member to an 8-inch third member mounting surface.
Yep.
So the diameters aren't the same.
Yeah.
The studs aren't in the same location. Nope. The there's the cutout for the e-locker that wasn't in the other one. So you can't
measure off of the original housing, the factory housing.
Yes.
Or you can't pick a reference point from the factory housing to reference onto the new housing.
Yeah. Like I couldn't pick the lower 6 o'clock stud.
Yeah.
Because that stud is not the same on both housings.
Yep.
And I didn't go down the rabbit hole enough to go see if any of the studs were the same, but I don't think they were, because the 8.2 third member, and this is just my case, right? The 8.2 third member has a larger diameter than the 8-inch.
Yep, it was slightly
housing.
larger. Yeah.
And so I don't think any of them are in the same exact spot. So the question really, it comes down to, where's that reference point? How do you create that reference point so that you can take measurements from the old housing and put it onto the new housing?
So with Toyota axles, fairly easy to do.
Okay.
Because they have removable third members.
Yes.
Drop out thirds.
Sure.
So what we did, and you guys ended up doing the pretty much same thing I did on Kermit's rear axle.
Okay.
Was laid out, put the third member on the ground, put the axle shafts into the third member, bottom them out, and then pull them out 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch so that they're not bottomed out, right?
Sure.
So the big thing to keep in mind here as to how much distance you have to play with is that you measure the splines on your axle shaft. In this case, your splines were 2 inches long.
Okay.
You need at least 75% engagement between your axle shafts and whatever they're turning in this case, the carrier of the third member, which is 1.5 inches.
Okay.
So you want to have at least 1.5 inches of engagement depth.
So the carrier's splines were 1.5 inches deep? Is that what you said?
I don't know. I never measured that.
Okay. So 75% of 2 inches is 1.5 inches, but right. So I don't remember ever looking into how much engagement was on there. I know that we did the math after the fact to some extent.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So is it 70? I don't know.
Pretty damn close to full engagement bottomed out.
Yes. Okay.
If not full 2 inches, 1.9 inches, something like that. So having the 2 inches spline in there, you need 75%. So it's 1.5 inches of engagement depth, which means we have up to 1/2 inch on either side tolerance for having float, quote unquote. So you're not bottoming out the end of the axle shaft into the carrier.
Right.
And distance to play around with at the axle tube cut.
Okay.
So between those two locations, you have half an inch per side.
Yes.
So the goal was to pull out quarter 3/8 of an inch from the carrier.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd have about 1/8 to 1/4 inch to play around with on our axle tube cut.
Sure. That gets us that half inch.
And that gives us the half inch on either side. And so that's your tolerance of how precise you need to be on your measurements and your cutting. And so we laid it down on the floor, third member, axle shafts in the third member, pulled the axle shafts out about 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch.
Okay.
The gap in most carriers is roughly about an inch. So you have about an inch gap between the axle shafts when they're bottomed out.
Oh, I didn't. That is inside the carrier.
Inside the carrier.
I didn't know it was that far in. Wow.
Yep. And you can see that as well by if we had put the axle shafts in the factory housing without the third member in, when they bottom out on the bolt flange, there's about an inch gap.
Yeah.
And
I've never paid attention to that, but you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fairly standard, roughly about an inch. So anyways, you take that inch there plus your float gap, which in our case was 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch, plus, what was it? So your inch there, your inch gap plus the axle shaft length plus your float gap.
Okay.
Plus your weld cup.
Yes.
And the weld cup goes on the end of the tube that then your axle shaft flange bolts to.
Right.
To secure your axle shaft if you have a semi-float axle. If you have a full float, your unit bearing bolts to. Right.
Okay.
And in the case of a unit bearing, you then also have to take into account the spline section on the outside of your axle shaft that goes into the unit bearing. And then you have a tolerance there as well that you need to deal with.
Right.
So in this case, semi-float, it's just a flange.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the weld cup. So we had to figure out where the weld cup sat and how we're going to weld it. Figuring out all that distance from both sides needs to add up to 59 and 5/16. 59 inches and 5/16.
Okay. And you got 59 and 5/16 due to that is the length of the factory T100 housing that we're trying to replicate. Interesting. So I think Hustle Nuts and I did it a little differently for the roughly is we measured the axle width, housing width, 59 and 5/16. Mm-hmm. And then we shoved the axle shafts into the third member on the ground. Okay. And we measured that from flange to flange, which is where the mounting flanges would be. And then we got that distance. And then we just subtracted that distance from the overall width of the housing. Yeah. And that tells us the difference in all the float and everything else that you kind of did. Yep. So that would equal, so that it would tell you, I don't remember what it was offhand, but let's say it was 2 inches, right? So then, okay, well, that's an inch per side. Mm-hmm. And you just add that inch per side into the full pressed in measurement that you got. Yeah. And then, in our case, the weld on pucks that go on for the flange, that worked out to roughly be an inch,
about an inch,
as well. And so then we had to, go in from that 1 inch on each side, to make the cuts area so that when we welded on the pucks for the mounting surface, that would all be the right length. So I think that's kind of how we did it. The hardest part was finding where's center. Yeah. And so to find where center, your measurement point off of the ground with the X shafts in the third member, and then translating that measurement to the housing, the only thing that you have that's the same on both is the studs for the third member. Right. And the stud locations. So on the Tundra 10.5 inch third members. Okay. The 2 side studs are a perfect rectangle of each other on the third member. Yeah.
and they're perfectly centered on the third member.
Oh, that's nice.
So it became a very nice reference point
Yeah.
to translate the third member onto the housing and measurements off of. That was not the case with the 8-inch E-locker. And I remember looking at that after Husmann told me where he took his reference points off of. I was like, okay. And I was like, I'd rather, instead of making two measurements off of the studs, I wanted to use the studs themselves. And I was like, I kind of looked and I took a couple of extra measurements. I was like, none of the studs are like centered and equal distant from a center reference point or something.
I don't think so.
Like the Tundra's ended up being.
I think I'm trying to remember, but the top two studs and the bottom two studs weren't they weren't square to each other.
Yeah,
so it's not like you could lean a straight edge from the top upper left stud, let's say like 11 o'clock to the lower 7 o'clock stud.
Yeah.
Those two weren't even.
No.
And so it would be at an angle one way or another. And so it was a matter of figuring out, okay, well, where actually is center? And to be honest, that is a part that I don't remember how we figured out.
What I did was I took the tape measure and put it across flange to flange, or when the third member axle shaft's in there, took it across, and
yeah, it's easy to figure out where the middle is of the axle.
Yeah.
But it's hard because if we got 59 and 5/16, that's how long that's how long that axle is. So and I don't know what 59 and 5/16 is, half of it off my head, but that's easy to find middle.
Yes.
Like that's middle.
Yep.
But how do you put that? I'm just for the listeners, right?
Yep.
How do you tell the new axle where middle is so that you can make those cuts in the right spot, right?
Yep.
So what'd you do?
We figured out where the center of the third member was and made a mark.
Okay.
On the third member, and then measured from that mark to the studs.
Okay.
And then
how did we figure out where the center of the third member was?
With a tape measure.
Okay. So you just measured the opening?
With the axle shafts in, and then got it set up so that the flange surfaces were at 59 and 5/16.
Okay. So on the ground?
On the ground.
Okay.
And then you run the tape measure across and find where the center point of 59 5/16 ends up laying on the third member.
Got it. That is, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That you're sparking my memory. Right. So we had the axle shafts out of the housing and
in the third member on the ground.
On the ground, we had the axle shafts stuck into the third member, but no housing.
Correct.
And then we set the axle shafts up so that the mounting surfaces were at 59 and 5/16. And then when we ran the tape across it, we were able to find middle. Where is the middle on the third member? And then from that middle point, we were able to measure out to the studs.
Yeah.
And they happen to be different distances.
They were
on top and bottom.
They're not centered
and
and symmetrical.
Left and right.
Yep.
But once we knew those distances, like for example, the bottom ones, that is the one I remember the best. One of it to the left was 1 1/4 inches, and to the right was 1 inch.
Yeah.
Right. And so then when you got that measurement and you took it to the new fabricated housing, you knew that 1 1/4 inches in from the left is center. And just to double check it, 1 inch from the right one is center.
Yep.
And that's where you needed to make your center mark.
Yep.
Right. And then we were able to do the same for the top section.
Yep. And the top was like 1 1/4 and 1 3/4 or something like that.
Yeah. It was different from the bottom.
It was different from the bottom. And that's what was like, okay, yeah, that was what was nice about the Tundra, the 10.5 was it was equidistant. I could just be like, okay, cool. So anyways, once you found that mark and the measurements off of the studs, then you go and repeat that process on the housing to mark the center of the housing.
Yes.
And then you can put the third member up to your housing and make sure that those two marks align if you really wanted to check it. And then you can make your measurements off of that for where you're going to cut your tubes based on the gap in the carrier, your float gap, and your weld cup gap.
Yes.
And then you take your total distance of X, Y, Z, and A,
Yeah.
4 different measurements, and then figure out which ones only pertain to the tube, which was really center section
X, Y, and Z
to the weld cup gap, really.
Right.
So,
or another way to say that is once you have your center mark, you can whatever half of the factory stock housing length is minus the weld cup.
Yeah. Yep. And so like the way I was doing it, figuring out the gap in the carrier, the float gap for your splines, like in theory, as long as you guys are copying the factory axle, that should all be good. But I like to know that those measurements are good. And so when you guys did your measurements without taking into consideration the gap and the float gap.
Sure. Yes.
And then I did the measurements kind of taking into consideration the float and the gap and the float gap. And we came out to within 1/8 of an inch of each other.
Right. Overall. A 16th per side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And the measurement that Husmann and I got was a 16th per side larger than what you got.
Correct. Yep. And I think that came down to guesstimating that, the carrier gap, because they're roughly an inch. They're not exactly an inch, right?
Yeah.
But you have a 1/4 inch tolerance on either side. So you have about a 1/2 inch overall.
Yeah. Which
so
ours Husmann and mine, came out to be identical width to the factory housing. So yours would have been a 1/8 shyer just for the way that you did your process. But, and that 1/8 doesn't matter. Cause like we were saying, there's a 1/4 inch of tolerance in there. So.
Yep.
Yeah. It was
so measuring and making sure you have all the stuff right that's the key.
That is the hardest, by far the hardest part.
Yes.
Big time. And so if you made it this far, and hopefully
you're following along.
Yeah. Hopefully you're following along with that. It's a hard picture to paint. I don't know how to
I drew a picture on cardboard.
You did. I
don't know if you still have that or if you
might. I think it was on the table. I don't know where. I did some panels on the other day, so I don't know where I put it, but I probably still have it. But regardless, the goal is that you're trying to just replicate what's already there. So just do a lot of measurements, measure, do a bunch of measuring before you do any bit of cutting.
So my problem with Kermit was that I didn't have something to copy.
Right.
I didn't have an axle. I was building these completely custom axles. There's nothing that WMS. I'm wider than a Super Duty.
Yeah.
So if you have a factory template to copy the factory template. It's not, templates are awesome.
For sure. Let's see. So once we got the measurements, now we can cut it. Husmann brought over his
chop saw,
metal chop saw that has like a ginormous cutting disc on it. 14 inches. I bought one, so I know. And then, so we just set it up and that worked out really well. It took us a little bit of time and thankfully to make sure that the axle was level so that we're cutting it at a straight square cut to the housing. And so we did that. We cut the 2 sides. I did burn the blade up, I guess. It just stopped cutting. I was pressing too hard on it. And thankfully there was enough material left on the original, the old blade that we had that it was able to finish the cuts barely. And then we came to weld the cups on once we cleaned everything up and sanded like the insides down so we could get the cups back in. At that time, we bolted the axle shafts to the cups and I had to sand down, me and Dave grinded down some of the factory housing for the third member so that it would sit well. It would go down onto the axle. The studs weren't on the factory or on the trail gear fabricated housing weren't perfect for the third member I had, or the third member is different than a lot of other third members. I'm not sure what the mix up there is, but we had to grind down a little bit of the third member so that it would slide over the studs and sit flat.
Yeah.
But once we did that, the reason that we stuck the third member into the housing, then we bolted the axles up, stuck those into the housing. And the benefit of that is now the cup is more or less sitting square into the housing, and that's holding the axles actually help holding it into place.
Exactly. So the axle shaft, and so like the way I would have done it was I would have put the cup in and then used magnets and an angle finder.
Yeah.
To put it perfectly 90-degree perpendicular to the tube.
Sure.
And when you guys are saying, no, we're just going to bolt it to it, I was like, because if you bolt it, that flange, the whole wheel mount flange on the semi-float flange there, in my mind, I was like, that's going to pull down.
Yeah.
And it's going to make the cup, because it wasn't a press fit cup.
No, it was not.
And so it was going to put, the cup downwards.
Yeah.
And so you would end up having an ever so slight, it could be like a third of a degree angle to the axle shaft. But the trick and the key is that if everything turns without binding, which is what we were testing for, because we thought one side looked a little wonky, but everything turned without binding, then your bearing pack is going to be just fine.
Right.
And so I was like, okay. And in theory, as long as the axle shaft is fit perfectly into the splines on the carrier, there's no issues there, then in theory, that's not going to move up and down. So it ended up being a much, I think, safer and quicker and easier way putting them in than what I was wanting to do.
Sure.
So I'm glad we did it that way.
Yeah, that worked out well.
Yeah.
We did 2 passes for welding those in. We did a very small root pass. We left the trail gear pucks that slide in. We left a small gap at the bottom. That was about an eighth, 16th, an eighth of an inch gap. And that gave us our 1 inch gap overall is that we were measuring for originally when we were doing the cuts. So we did a root pass down at the very bottom to fill that 1 inch gap, make sure that it was deep and had some good penetration.
Gap.
The 1/8 inch gap. Yeah. We did a root pass there, making sure it's had the good heat on it, good penetration. And then we did a second pass to fill the rest of it up. And then we duplicated that on both sides. I got super frustrated on the root pass that I did.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous of doing it, so I asked Husmann to do the first one. And then it didn't look hard. But I mean, it just shows
he has a lot of experience doing
skilled welder, doing things like that compared to more of a novice. And I don't know. I thought about it a lot that afternoon because I got frustrated doing it. I should have just stopped, but I felt a little pressured.
Oh, yeah.
Because my friends were there and, I needed to get this done. But I was getting to the point of frustration where I was just like not doing some of the right things at the right times. And I do think, to my own excuse, that I think I was hungry. So there was a little lack of motivation there. But, the thing is, it's like, I think that I was trying to remember what my conclusion. I think a lot of it came down to is just like, I'm not the best welder. I think you have more skill as a welder than I have, and Husmann has more skill than both of us combined.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I think that like Husmann goes, "Oh, this is a super easy thing to do."
So then you thought it should have been super easy.
Yeah. And then, but also in my mind, I know that it's a very important weld to help hold everything together. So I had this like stress.
It is the critical point
of like making it perfect and doing it right and having my friends look over my shoulder, correcting me and looking at it, and I just need more welding practice is what I think I came down to is like, I just don't feel like I was skilled enough to do that one part.
I think, and it comes down to, so this is the funny thing that I figured out about welding, that doing the bigger stuff, the stuff that it looks more impressive because it's more in your face kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's the easy side of welding.
Yeah.
You're doing the cap pass that you did on them. That's the easy part, but that's the part that's like the finisher part that everyone looks at, that everybody gets it's like putting lights and accessories on your vehicle versus changing out the drivetrain.
Yeah.
Right. That's the fun part is the cap passes, but those are the easier ones to do. The hard stuff is the stuff that people don't necessarily always see. It's the tiny welds.
Yeah.
It's the welding aluminum. It's the finesse welds, right?
Mhm.
The ones that take very fine motor skills to do. And that was the big thing that I noticed about you working on that root pass was you're really, really good at gross motor skills.
Okay.
You have amazing balance. You can move at high speeds over really interesting terrain.
Sure.
So your gross motor movements are really, really excellent compared to, I think, most human beings.
Fine-tuned.
But when it comes to the really tiny, fine motor skills,
right,
you definitely were struggling.
Which is interesting because I'm an artist, like, and I'm a drawer, and like I use a pen and paper and, in my hand, but I think that
pen is mostly all wrist control.
Yeah.
Welding, fine motor welding takes your hand, your wrist, your arm, your shoulder, your torso, standing there, laying there, sitting there, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I've noticed in welding, and this one took me a while to figure out, was the more comfortable you can be, the easier those fine motor skills are.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we kept trying to say, hey, try it over here, try in this position, try in this position. Granted, we're a little taller than you, so seeing over, I laughed so hard. When I was like, it just seems like you're not seeing what's going on. Like it's hey, you have a tiny ass little 1/8 gap. You're trying to get the weld down into to fill properly. And you're having to follow it so precisely that any deviation in your movement,
right,
or not being able to see where it's going, and you're fucked. You have to start over.
Right.
And that's what seemed like was happening. So I was like, maybe you just can't see it. And I was looking at from where you were. I was like, you were kind of like had the gun over the top and you're looking at it straight on and trying to follow it down that way. And I was like, that seems super uncomfy. It feels like it'd be hard. I was like, I could see, like, just look over the top of it and follow it downwards from your overhead view. And I was like, can you do that? And you're like, well, I'm not as tall as you. And then you grabbed a little footstool and got up on top of it. And I was like, yes, okay, that makes sense. You're definitely not as tall as us. You can't get the same vantage point.
I know that there's like kind of two ways of welding in an aspect. One where you're like looking at where you've gone is what I'll say.
Yeah.
And then the aspect of where you're going.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely like knowing where I'm going because like, I feel like when I look at the weld and I looking at where I've gone, I don't know where to go.
That's fair.
Right?
I mean, yeah, you're kind of looking at two different sides of your welding gun, right? Your MIG gun, and you can't really see through the nozzle.
Right.
So you have to kind of choose which way you want to look
I
at.
like to see it where I'm going. But when you look at it that way, you don't know how you're welding.
Yeah.
Right. So there's this pick and pull or, two birds, one stone thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh man. Yeah.
But another thing is, I think I need to lighten my lens. I feel like like you were saying, I feel like I can't see.
Yeah.
And I'm very protective over my eyes. Like I want my eyes to last. Like I don't want to burn my eyes. I'm scared of welding so hot that my eyes are going to have problems. So I have my lenses dark. And I feel like that, especially in this case, I feel like that was a big hindrance. Like I can't see. And it's not a fact that I can't like see. I just literally can't see.
Yeah.
It's just so dark.
Yeah.
And for the big passes, like I can't, like even when I was doing the cap weld, I thought that was really great for me because I was able to actually see the puddle and move it.
Yep.
But that puddle is big and it's hot.
Big, yes.
Right. And I'm like, wow, I can really see the puddle.
Yep.
But
that's the easy part of welding.
But
man,
I can't see the puddle when it was smaller. Like I just see a hot flash and I'm trying to see edges.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know where to go. So I felt like I looked back on it and I was like, maybe I should have just lightened for that pass. I could lighten my lens a little bit. Because I'm at like 11 or 12 in my sense,
and those
thing.
are a 13.
They go to 13.
Yeah. I think on those, I think you and I have the same hood.
Maybe.
At least I think it's the same digital electronics in it.
Yeah.
And I think I run mine around 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Out of 13. But yeah, being able to see stuff is huge. And the big thing that I struggle with now with welding is having the right lighting on what I'm welding on.
Mm-hmm.
And I've found that especially trail welding, I have to pull flashlights out in the middle of the day.
Sure.
To get up underneath vehicles. So I have directed light exactly where I'm welding.
Yeah.
And that helps immensely.
That does too. And that was another thing I think that could have helped.
So I've started looking around, like, why don't people make welding hoods with flashlights built into them?
Interesting. Yeah.
You have solar powered welding hoods now.
Yeah.
So why not make that built into a flashlight and be able to recharge the batteries as you're using it from the weld?
Mm-hmm.
And I've just started seeing flashlight welding hoods showing up. The flashlights are pretty big and bulky. They're like a fat headlamp.
Yeah.
So I think there's still some room for improvement of bringing that down to a smaller slimline LED strip or something. But flashlight welding hoods are a big thing that I think need to happen more.
Right.
Especially for recreational welders that aren't doing this for a living. They're not used to that experience of being able to feel and know in the dark where they're running a bead at, right?
Yeah.
Husmann can do that.
Mm-hmm.
His hood isn't auto darkening. It's just, I remember as we were sitting there, I'd put the hood down, his hood down to watch you. And I'm waiting for you to start. And I'm like, I can't see where the fuck Jimmy is or where he's lined up or anything. I have to wait for him to strike the arc in order to see what's going on.
I really like his gold lens. I've used his.
It is nice once you're welding.
When you're welding.
Yeah.
And so I've looked at auto darkening gold lenses. There aren't any.
Okay.
And I'm like, why not? Because the gold lens really changes. I think I welded better with that gold lens on.
Okay.
The problem is I don't know where to start.
Yeah, that's my problem.
So I'm like, I got to drag the weld all the way over here to get to the right spot before I can start welding where I needed to.
Yeah.
Right. And he's got it down. He can hold his position so well and flick his head that his hand doesn't move.
Yep.
And then start the weld where he wants to. It's got the precision, and I just can't do that.
Yeah.
I like the fact that I never I'm done. I welded. I need to move. I don't have to lift the hood. I can snip my wire. I can do whatever I need, and then continue to weld.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to remove it.
Yeah.
But I think there was a few things that I should have done. One, I think lights would have really helped.
Mm-hmm.
I think lightening my vision, the lens would have really helped. And then I think that when Husmann came in and he grinded it wider than it was, and that really helped out too. So I think there was a level of that in there that all really would have helped me do better from the start.
Yeah. What I did really like about that process though is I got to watch the transformation happening of your first couple attempts on the root. I mean, you were immediately running into the sides and not getting it down to the bottom of the root, right?
Yeah.
The surface, the weld surface. And you did that 2 or 3 times and finished like a whole inch and a half of weld and took off your hood and you're like, oh no, I don't think that's right. And we'd look at it, no, you kind of hit the sides here.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay. So like the first 3 times you didn't really know how to tell. And then like the 4th and 5th time you're like, you take off the hood and you're like, oh no, I fucked it up there. And that part's good. So I just need to cut it down here and regrind it out and redo it down there. And then before long, you were noticing it while you were welding. You didn't have to stop and pull your hood up to look. You would just immediately stop, like, nope, mess that up and go back and cut it out and re-weld. Yeah. So it could see the learning process happening. And then by the end, you were getting you did, I think, 2 passes at the end where you didn't mess it up.
Maybe. Yeah.
So it was fun to watch the learning process happen and watch you extend your knowledge and be able to know what's going on and figuring it out. So
yeah, I do. And that's part of it too, right? It's like, I got so frustrated because I kept fucking it up, but I'm never going to grow as a welder
if you don't fuck it up.
If I don't fuck it up or I don't try, right?
Yeah.
Like you're never going to get good at something if you don't do the hard thing.
Yep.
If you only ever do the easy stuff, you're never going to learn. You're never going to grow. You're not going to become better.
Yep.
Right. And there's like, granted, I got frustrated and I was, upset at myself because I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of it came down to is like, I wasn't mad at you. I wasn't mad at Husmann, right? I wasn't mad at the Axle or Samantha. I was mad at myself because it's like, why can't I do this? Why am I not good enough to do this? And the thing is, it's like, I'm not experienced enough to do it, but I'm still trying it. I'm still working on it. I'm still practicing. I've got friends around me that will help me get out of the problem if I make a problem, right? Like, there's no reason I should have been upset at myself.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I was just like, I wasn't as good as I wanted to be. Yeah. And that made me mad.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
It was a humbling experience, but it was a good experience in the long run because I'm a better welder now.
Yep.
Am I going to want to do a root weld anytime soon? Probably not. But the thing is, I know what to do. I know what to look for. I know how to solve that problem in the future now.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's the cool part about life learning opportunities, right? Yeah. I'm a huge proponent of, and it's going to be interesting to me, growing a kid.
Failure
is letting him fail.
Yeah. It's hard
because you don't want to let them fail, but I'm such a huge proponent of, I've failed a lot in life and a lot of people do. And I think that failure is one of the best ways to learn. As long 100%. As long as you have sort of a safety net there. I mean, when you don't have a safety net, you're much less willing to take that risk and fail. And if you don't fail, like you said, how much are you really learning?
Yeah.
If you're not really pushing yourself and taking the risk of failure. So, I'm a big proponent of failure, and it was fun to watch you fail and then watch you come out of it on the other end.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that. So I want to summarize sort of the, axle, measurement.
Yeah.
Real quick, if I can. There's a lot that goes into it, but I think like we were sort of saying, the summary of it is you need to figure out what length you want. You need to figure out where the third member is going to go.
Yep.
You need to figure out where the center is. You need to add everything up.
Yep.
To get your overall measurements. And then you need to relay that from the center out.
Yeah.
On the housing, and then subtract anything that you're adding later. Yep. Like we had the weld cups, or the flange nut cups or whatever they're called so we had to account for those. So we subtracted that from the overall measurement. And then once you know for certain that that's everything, that's where you're going to make your cuts.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's ways to double check it. And there's multiple ways of processes to get those measurements and everything. Yeah. I run in the camp of, I want to know all the measurements, and then I can reference, a cardboard drawing of all my measurements to figure out what I need to find out.
Sure.
You guys just did it from the housing because you had the template to use, which was much easier than what I did. And there's multiple ways to do it, and there's not really a right or wrong way. The key point is that your measurements are correct.
Yes.
So be very careful with your measurements, and as long as you do your measurements correctly, double check them, triple check them, you should be good.
Right. Yeah. After that, once everything was welded on, we did level. We took a measurement and checked the factory housing. We leveled the cups or way that the axle shaft mounts to the axle. We leveled that to the third member, and that's was reflective of the factory housing.
Yep.
We didn't say that, but once everything cooled down enough, we threw the axle underneath the back of Becky, and we put, or excuse me, Samantha. Even I'm messing up the names. Samantha, and then we put the pre-tack welded together truss and link mounts on there, and we kind of mocked up the trailing arm setup and set all that kind of into place, and got an idea of how it's going to look and what the wheelbase is going to be, like 117, 118 area as it sits now. Not sure if that's going to be final. But it really kind of streamlines a lot of things. So I think that, there's not much more for that rear axle setup to do. Oh. It's a matter of making sure that the angle of the axle and the pinion angle, primarily, is pointing in the right direction.
Yep. Got to make sure the axle is square to the chassis.
Square to the chassis.
And that the pinion angle is correct.
Yep.
And you're going to run a double cardan.
Double cardan.
So you want the pinion pointing directly at that transfer case.
Correct.
Yep.
Need to center the link geometry on the axle. That setup over inside of the frames and on the axle housing. Tack that into place and link it together. I still need to build the upper links, but the trailing arms are built.
Yeah.
So I need to put the front bushings together.
I think you need to check that clearance on the coilovers in the frame.
Yes,
on the rear and the trailing.
Did you bring
arm.
me springs?
I did. They're in the back.
Sweet.
Yep.
I need some springs to start doing some clearance checking. See if I need to actually, if the shocks might fit inside the frame rails or not. If I need to cut those out or make some boxes. But man, it sure looks like it might fit.
Good, man.
Maybe. And everything's coming together rather well. So super excited for that. Rear axle, not done, but this was a huge step.
Yeah.
And then front axle is not done, but I don't feel like there's a lot to go, but I do know that there's a lot more work still on the front than there is on the rear. I feel like the rear is I feel like it's really close.
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
I was almost like, shit, we could just measure this up and tack things in place right now while we're here.
Almost, yeah.
But I think we do need that spring on the coilover to check the clearance first. But not necessarily. The axle's going to be wherever it's going to be, right?
It's going to be where it's going to be.
That's true.
It's a matter of, am I going to be able to clear the frame?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to use the upper mounting point. And if I angle it in and angle it forward a little bit, I have to angle it forward a little bit to clear one of the cross members. If I angle it in towards the center of the vehicle to try and clear the frame a little bit, it might clear.
Yeah.
And from our very rough guesstimate, I'm only going to stick through the bed like 4 inches.
Nice.
Yeah. Which I was like, what? That's it?
Yeah.
I expected so much more.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It might be more just because nothing's set in place and it was a rough guess on how the shock is going to sit. But I am using 12s in the rear instead of 14s. I'm using 14s up front, 12s in the rear. But when we did our basic measurement, it was something like almost 2x for the trailing arm mounting point. So if I'm using 12s, that gets it around 22, maybe 24 if it's a true 12 inches of travel in the rear.
Wow.
So that's going to be kind of wild.
That'll be crazy.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
Yeah. The one thing we didn't really talk about that I thought was an aha moment that I learned that day was preheating.
Yes.
So when we welded, so you're running 3/8 inch tubes, 3.5 inch, 3/8 inch thick tubes.
Yes.
3/8 wall. That's what I need to say.
Okay.
So that 3/8 wall tube it's thick. It's a massive heat sink. So you can't just go straight to welding your root and your cap. You need to preheat the metal.
Right.
So that it's hot enough and the energy from your welder is not going into trying to heat the metal up. It's going into just straight fusion, right?
Okay, yeah.
I was concerned, and this is why I would have put the weld cups on with magnets and angle finders, was having to preheat the area there with the axle in. You're heating up that bearing as well. That was my big concern. And Husmann was like, no, you can heat the axle without really heating up the bearing pack.
Okay.
And I'm like, explain this magic to me, Husmann.
Sure, yeah.
And so he did. It was really neat. It was nothing I've ever heard about, but it made complete sense once he explained it. Instead of heating the exact spot that you're going to be welding, you heat back from that spot a little bit. In this case, on an axle tube. So we're going to be welding at the end of the axle tube. You heat 2 to 3 inches in from the end. And that's your point of heat all the way around. And then your goal is to make it so that on further towards the third member, you can grab the axle tube and touch it so that it's warm, but you can't leave your hand there roughly 3, 4, maybe 5 inches from your heating point.
Okay.
And the goal of that is that when you start welding in your weld location, the heat isn't dissipating
You're not
down the metal of the axle shaft. It's only really having to dissipate up until that heat point of where it got really hot, where you preheated.
right.
So that means you're not losing the heat that the electricity, the arc is putting into the metal. You're not losing that heat down this big heat sink.
Right.
It's kind of capturing the heat back out at the end in your welding area.
Yeah. Kind of another way to say that is you're not drawing the cold from the tubes to your weld.
Yeah.
Right. You've heated the tube up. So now all you're doing is you're welding.
You're heating your weld.
And you're heating your weld up that way because the tube is already warm.
Yeah.
Or hot in our case.
Yeah.
And I had some gas. I had a butane torch in the shop, a little one, and the husband's like, no, you need to go buy a MAP gas one.
Yeah.
And so, so I went out and bought some MAP gas because it burns hotter and it works better and it's more efficient that way. And so, that worked out really well. And I think that was another thing I got when I was doing my root weld, everything got cold. And as soon as we started heating that up again, and things started flowing a lot better too. Yeah. So, that was a very good memory there. That was a good insight that we had, and a trick, and it made welding that up a lot easier. Yeah. So sweet,
cool, good stuff, man. It was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, putting the rear axle together. It's all axle shafts are in, third members in. It's pretty much ready to start putting suspension trusses, brackets on, everything like that, strike pads, etc.
Yeah. A goal of mine now is to start getting Samantha videos out.
Okay.
That's what I want. I need to start that process and get that going. And because I really, I feel like I'm missing things in videos that I'm not catching because I haven't made videos in a while. And I need to start making videos so then I can start telling better stories for what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And since I've gotten all this way, we at front, let's just say is 60% done. Rear is 70% done. And I don't have a video out on any of it right now.
Okay.
And so I'm like, shit, I need to start pumping videos or at least getting a bunch of those videos done because I feel like I'm missing the story.
Yeah.
Or I'm forgetting things that I should have been recording mentally. I forgot about it. The story in my head is gone for the thing that I was talking about with the front suspension because now I'm focusing on the rear suspension.
Yeah. And that's the hard part about YouTube for me, that I will never do YouTube.
Yeah.
Is I get so entranced in what I'm doing that I get kind of tunnel vision, right? And it's impossible for me to think about what I'm doing, fixing the problem, working on the problem, etc. And also trying to think about how I'm doing and how do I tell a story with it, right? And you need to be able to tell that story to everybody that's going to be watching. And that includes camera angles, production, lighting, how you look when you're doing this, whether you're happy, sad, what kind of tone of voice you're using that day. And if you're getting super fucking frustrated at a root pass, how does that come out on your storytelling too? I don't know. I can't do it, man. I don't know how you YouTubers do that.
Yeah, it was funny because after we finished all that welding, I was like, did we record any of that? I was so focused on and frustrated with what was going on that I was, after the fact, I'm like, was the camera even on? And I was just I was so one-sided or one view, one strictly on this thing that
one cow jumping over a glass house, something like that.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking about anything else.
Yeah.
I was just I gotta focus.
Yeah.
And that's that's a hard part of it. Yeah. So, I know a lot of YouTubers try to figure out the story first.
Yeah.
And then they have an idea of how they're going to create the story.
Yeah.
And I'm going about it backwards.
The other way.
I'm recording a bunch of stuff
and put the story together.
I'm trying to figure out how to put the story together. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. The first few videos might be a little rough, but I do want to start getting videos out. I want to get a welcome back video done for just SnailTrail4x4. And sort of say where I've been, what I've been up to, what's going on with my life. Cause I think I said this on another podcast, but I've been married. I now have a kid. I've started Snail Armor. There's a lot of stuff that has happened since I've kind of stopped doing YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's many of the reasons that I haven't been doing YouTube. And so to get back to it, I feel like I need to bring everybody back up to speed about who I am and what I am doing and where I've been.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to do one of those videos, and then I want to jump. I'm thinking about, I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm thinking about doing like a quick intro to Samantha. Like, here's everything I've gone to and up to the point of where we are at.
Yeah.
Or where we were at 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And then start in with, here we are working on the front. Here we are working on, cutting brackets off or whatever it is. Start from the start and move forward from there. So that's my game plan as of now.
Nice.
And I just need to start doing it.
Yep. Just do it, Nike.
Just do it. Yep, absolutely.
Nike's going to come after us now for trademark infringement.
Perfect. Do it, Nike.
Just do it, Nike. Well, cool, man. I'm excited. Samantha's close. It's just a matter of, I think, a little chipping away a little bit at a time. It's coming for sure. So
it is. Bring it, Nick.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, no, I do. It's one of those things. It's like, I see it and I'm like, it's not far away. And then I think about it, I'm like, there's so much still to do, but it's the big projects seem like they're all coming to a conclusion, but there's so many small things involved in these big projects that I just have no idea that they're coming.
Yeah, for sure. Good old vehicle building, fabrications, fun times. So that does it for today's episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the update on Samantha and playing around with rear ends. It was a lot of fun. I love axles. I don't know why it's my favorite part of a vehicle, but I really enjoyed getting to hang back out in the shop with you, Husmann and Dave. I haven't got to do that in a while. And then getting to play with axles too is a lot of fun. So yeah. If you guys have any feedback on the show, give us a call, 916-345-4744. That's our voicemail number. You can leave us a voicemail. We go over those on Fridays for you guys. And if you want to email us, you can do that too. It's Jimmy at SnailTrail4x4.com, Tyler at SnailTrail4x4.com. There's Instagram land, which is SnailTrail4x4. That's that guy over there. And then I look over at the 4x4 Toyota Tyler Instagram. And then there's other smattering ways to get a hold of us. So smattering of ways to get a hold of us, not a smuttering. That's a very different thing. So I look forward to hearing from you guys. We love it. We'll keep doing the show as long as you guys keep interacting with us. So Winter Fun Fest this weekend. I know some of you guys are going to be out there. Looking forward to seeing you. And then shortly after that is going to be KOH.
Yes.
So looking forward to that as well. And we will probably put together a night run or some kind of run. We're just not sure what day yet. So cool. Anything else, Jimmy?
I think my last words are, you said it already, but it was what I was going to say. It was sure a good time just having the four of us in the shop, hanging out, bullshitting.
Yeah.
I think we could have done in half the time, but that's half the fun.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I agree. And with that, my friends, keep growling.
I got one for you.
Ooh, okay. What do you got?
What is a dog's favorite pizza topping?
I don't know. Bone a la mode?
That's not bad, but no.
No, I don't know then.
It's a pepperoni. Cute little pepperoni.
I don't think dogs eat puppies.
They didn't say eat. It's just favorite.
It's a favorite. What else do you do with a pizza topping?
I don't know.
You're not making any sense, Jimmy.